I should have listened to that feeling, that gnawing, primal instinct screaming at me to turn back. But curiosity's a hell of a drug, isn't it? You hear a story about a ghost town nobody's ever heard of, tucked away in a valley you've driven past 100 times, and you think, why not? You think it's an adventure, a chance to poke around, film some creepy footage, maybe get a few likes online. That's what we thought. Anyway, me, Carlos, and Aaron. 3 idiots in a Chevy K5 Blazer, chasing a hunter's tall tale. I'm Terry, by the way. And if you're hearing this, well, I don't know if I'm warning you or confessing. Maybe both. It started in our local bar, the kind of place where the jukebox never stops and the beer's always cold. We were playing pool, celebrating the end of another grinding week, when Gerald Wright's voice cut through the noise. He's a local hunter, big guy, always got a story. This time, he was waving his beer around, talking about a ghost town he'd stumbled across in Lincoln Hills. Said he was tracking a buck, looked down a valley, and there it was, Mckame. A whole town, silent as a tomb, with houses and shops that looked too new to be abandoned. I've been hunting those woods for 20 years, he said, and I've never seen it before. I glanced at Carlos, then Aaron. We were all thinking the same thing. An undiscovered ghost town? That's gold for Carlos's little YouTube channel. He's got a few thousand subscribers who eat up his videos of abandoned mines and crumbling barns. This could be big. So I walked over to Gerald, casual as you like, and asked him about it. He confirmed it was near McKinley Logging Road. Looked new, he said, shaking his head. Didn't go down there, but it was off. I should have paid attention to that word. Off. But I didn't. I just grabbed my Corona, slapped Gerald on the shoulder, and pitched the idea to the guys. 5.5 hours of daylight left. Plenty of time to check it out. Aaron was worried about the logging roads tearing up his car or Carlos's Explorer. But my K5 Blazer, that beast could handle anything. So we piled into the truck, grabbed some gear, flashlights, a hunting rifle, my Beretta 92 FS, and hit the road. The logging roads were a mess, pockmarked with ruts and puddles from last night's rain. Trees arched over us, their branches scraping the roof like fingernails on a chalkboard. Aaron had an old map of the logging roads spread across his lap. He figured the town was in Barrett Valley, about 2 miles ahead. None of us had ever heard of a town out here, not even a whisper. That should have been the first red flag. Carlos spotted the turnoff, an overgrown path, barely visible, like the forest was trying to hide it. I felt something then, a prickling at the back of my neck. It wasn't fear, not yet, just wrongness. Like the air was too heavy. I ignored it, shifted into low gear, and turned onto the path. That's when things got weird. The dirt road turned to tarmac. Smooth, black asphalt with yellow lines, like it was paved yesterday. I stopped the truck, staring at it. Ghost towns don't have fresh pavement. They just don't. But we kept going, rounding a corner, and there it was Mckame. A whole damn town sprawled across the valley. Houses with overgrown lawns, a downtown with shops, a cinema, even a church spire piercing the sky. It was huge. The sign at the bridge read, "Welcome to Mckame." Population 12,463. Our town doesn't even have that many people. Carlos started filming through the windshield, his voice shaky with excitement. "This is unreal," he said. Aaron just stared, muttering, "This place looks too new." He was right. The houses weren't ancient ruins. The paint was peeling, sure, but the designs were modern, maybe 30 years old tops. No rusted cars, no signs of life. Just silence, broken only by the echo of our engine off the buildings. We drove through the residential streets first. The houses looked lived in, but abandoned, like everyone just vanished midday. Windows were broken, some inward, which was odd. No glass in the yards. We stopped at the church, its door wide open. Inside, pews were overturned, the pulpit smashed. A crucified Jesus lay toppled on the floor. The announcement board outside read, "Save yourself from the pestilence. God is here to offer you salvation." I shivered reading it, and not because of the cool air. Carlos zoomed in on the sign, asking, "What the hell's the pestilence?" I didn't know, and I didn't want to. Something about that church made my skin crawl. We had about 2 hours of daylight left. I suggested we check out the downtown and get out before dark. Truth is, I didn't want to be here after sunset. Not because of the logging roads, because of Mckame. We parked in the town square, surrounded by a laundromat, a library, a newspaper office, a video store, a repair garage, and a community center. All empty, all wrong. I grabbed my Beretta, holstered it on my thigh. Carlos raised an eyebrow, but I wasn't taking chances. Wolves, cougars, whatever. I wasn't going down without a fight. I handed Aaron the hunting rifle and passed out flashlights. Carlos wanted to check the library and newspaper office for clues about when Mckame was abandoned. I wasn't thrilled about splitting up, but I agreed to check the garage and video store. "Watch your backs," I said, trying to sound calm. They nodded and headed off, Carlos's camcorder still rolling. The garage was dark, the roll-up door half open. I ducked inside, my flashlight cutting through the gloom. Tools were scattered on the floor, like someone left in a hurry. Oil stains looked fresh, which didn't make sense. I found a clipboard hanging on the wall, a work order dated July 12, 1995. 30 years ago, almost to the day. The client's name was smudged, but the job was for a routine maintenance. Nothing routine about this place. The video store was next. The shelves were stocked with VHS tapes, hundreds of them, covers faded but intact. I picked one up, The Silence of the Lambs, released in '91. None of the tapes were older than that. I shone my light behind the counter and froze. There was a Polaroid taped to the register. 3 people, 2 men and a woman, smiling, standing in front of the Welcome to Mckame sign. Their faces, they looked familiar. Too familiar. My hands shook as I stuffed the photo in my pocket. I stepped outside, my heart pounding. The air felt thicker now, like it was pressing against my chest. I checked my watch. Only an hour of daylight left. I headed toward the library to find the others, but something caught my eye. The community center's doors were open, just a crack. I don't know why, but I felt drawn to it like something was pulling me. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The community center was a cavernous hall, with a stage at one end and rows of chairs facing it. My flashlight beam caught something on the stage, a pile of clothes, maybe. I got closer and realized they weren't clothes. They were dolls. Dozens of them, life-sized, dressed in modern clothes. Their faces were blank, just smooth porcelain, but their eyes, they seemed to follow me. I backed away, my breath hitching, and that's when I heard it. It wasn't human. It was like static but alive, pulsing. The air vibrated with it. I spun around, my flashlight darting across the room. Shadows moved in the corners, too fast to follow. My hand went to my Beretta, but it felt useless. The hum grew louder, and then silence. Dead silence. I bolted for the door, my boots pounding the floor. Outside, the town was darker than it should have been. The sun was still up, but the light felt wrong. Dim, like it was being swallowed. I ran toward the library, calling for Carlos and Aaron. No answer. The library doors were open, and I rushed inside. Books were everywhere, strewn across the floor. I found Carlos's camcorder on a table, still recording. I played it back. The last frame showed Carlos zooming in on a newspaper headline. Mckame quarantined, pestilence spreads. The date was July 12, 1995. I heard footsteps behind me. I spun, drawing my Beretta, but it was Aaron, pale as a ghost. "Where's Carlos?" I demanded. He shook his head, eyes wide. He was right behind me in the newspaper office, then he just wasn't. We searched the library, calling his name. Nothing. But I saw something on the floor, a Polaroid, just like the one I'd found. It showed the same 3 people, but this time their faces were scratched out. The hum came back, louder, closer. The windows rattled. Aaron grabbed my arm. "We need to go, Terry. Now." We ran for the truck, the hum chasing us, vibrating in my bones. I fumbled with the keys, started the engine, and floored it. The bridge rattled as we crossed it, and I didn't look back. I couldn't. The hum faded as we hit the logging road, but the weight in my chest didn't. We made it back to town, just as the sun dipped below the horizon. Aaron didn't say a word the whole drive. I dropped him off, then went home and locked every door. I sat up all night, staring at the Polaroids. The faces, they were us. Me, Carlos, Aaron, smiling, like we belonged there. I don't know how, but it was us. I went back the next day alone. The logging road was there, but the turnoff was gone. No tarmac, no bridge, no Mckame. Just trees like it was never there. I checked the map. Barrett Valley doesn't exist. I called Aaron. He doesn't remember going. Says we stayed at the bar all night. Carlos's YouTube channel is gone. His apartment's empty. It's like he never existed. I keep the Polaroids in a drawer. Sometimes at night I hear that hum. It's faint, but it's there. I don't know what Mckame was. A trap? A memory? Something worse? I think about Gerald, how he said it looked off. I think about Carlos, and I wonder if I left him there or if he was never real to begin with. Maybe I'm not either. Maybe I'm still in Mckame, driving those empty streets, looking for a way out. And maybe, just maybe, you're there too.